Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the Tier 10 Chinese Collector Heavy, the 116 F3. This is a tank that only 90 people own, making it one of the rarest vehicles in the game, especially at Tier 10. Now, it's not going to stay the rarest, as I assume at some point in the future, Wargaming will sell this vehicle. But as of now, it's a pretty rare specimen to find. Does that make it a good tank? I don't know. This tank has some really good capabilities going for it. However, the water is quite muddied in actual performance. For example, it's got really nice alpha damage, sitting at 490, meaning that you can outtrade almost every other heavy apart from super high alpha tanks. But even then, you have reactive armor, so you can outtrade even vehicles like an E100, which is pretty nice. The tank has decent DPM at 2,460, it's got really good penetration on the standard and the gold, but here's where problems occur. It has 0.339 dispersion, making it the worst dispersion for a tier 10 heavy. In fact, it's basically the same dispersion as a 183, because I'm running refined gun. That is way worse than like any other heavy you'll find. The on-movement dispersion is decent, however the turret traverse on-movement dispersion is absolutely terrible. So if you lock the turret and you turn the tank like this, then it's not the worst. But if you turn the turret to shoot an opponent, then it blooms. Yeah, think about that for a second. In other words, you have to bloom because you have to turn the turret to shoot people. The tank has terrible levels of aiming time, and yeah, it's one of the derpiest guns I've ever experienced. To make up for that, it has sandbags and it has reactive. Sandbags allows me to get 2,700 HP, and reactive armor allows me to mitigate most of the damage that I receive. When you pair that with the fact the vehicle obviously chunks, you can have some decent results. But the armor is not very good on this tank. It's troll, but not very good, and that's the best way to describe it. The track wheels are absolutely horrendous. They are super weak, which is unfortunate, because if the side armor was better on this tank, I think it would actually be pretty decent. Not only are the track wheels incredibly weak on this tank, but it is not very mobile. Now, to be fair, I'm not running improved fuel, because I'm running HP and double food to get as much performance as I can out of the gun. But the tank's actually not that slow, as we can see. It's not fast, but it's not the slowest either, so I don't really require the mobility as much as I want the rest of the tank to be just that little bit better. So, what are we going to do? Well, I am going to make my way over to the medium flank, and that is because, well, I do have my VK-72 and, one other tank, but I don't really see much of an advantage going over there. So we're going to head over to this side of the map. We have the M60 who is crossing, and boom, 512. And our 183 took 1,000 off his tank. So just like that, the M60 is out of the game. The car is going to shoot him, and bye-bye. Don't we love the autoloaders? Although, gonna be honest, that was mostly the M60's fault. Shouldn't have made that play. We have the Rhino up top. We have the Hori over here. Oh, we have the 183 right in mid. All right, let's aim it on that 183. Shell went incredibly low. A great example of this vehicle's Sussler accuracy. We have the Rhino, and, well, let's see. I'm going to put on my reactive. Rhino pens me once. I hit him back for 501. Bounces the second shell on me. However, I'm in a rather peculiar spot. I have almost no support from my team. The 183 is now looking at me, which is not ideal. Keeping my eye on that 183. Still gonna stare at me? I'm not gonna poke you. Like, it's not happening, Chief. It ain't happening. What I'm gonna do right now is just back up, because I think that's the best play to make. So we're gonna do exactly that. We have the Rhino on the side, and we still have the Hori over here. Aiming, aiming, aiming. And, of course, there it is. The 183 moved over here. Not only did he move over here, he rolled 1144 with an AP, meaning that he max rolled me. Wow, we love this game, guys. We love this game. I go from full health to 730 in a matter of seconds. I really hope this 183 does this. I really do. Because I'm going to get one shell into him right there. Yeah, genius play. Genius. That's why we don't just YOLO the first tank we see spotted. But, hey, it worked out for you with one shell, I guess, right? It's aiming on the Ho-Ri. Bro really wants to tunnel me. Honestly, I don't really care. If you shoot me, you're going to really... I was going to say you're really going to low roll it because I have reactive armor on, but you bounced me. That's even better. This tank's armor is troll, but not what I would consider effective. But you can definitely get some troll bounces here and there with it, which is kind of nice. We have the STB, and oh, there's the 121B, full speed ahead. Let's see, is that 121B AFK? Indeed, he is. Okay, well, gonna make my way right over to the 121, and I'm not able to HE him just yet, but now I am. Boom, 736. Just like that, we end up dealing 3,700 damage. So a decent result for the 116. So, yeah, I mean, this game was a decent example of its capabilities. We can see where the gun, obviously, hits really hard and has the ability to chunk opponents. Not only that, but we can see where the armor is kind of troll. And we can also see where a 183 YOLO'd me for no reason. 1,140 with an AP roll. That is insane. That is absolutely insane, the fact that that player rolled that high. But that's Blitz, right? The 116 is actually a rather hard tank to pen with any sort of high explosive ammunition due to the fact that it's covered with spaced armor on the sides. Its front is very thick. The lower plate's about 220 on this vehicle, so if you slightly angle it, you can actually make it rather hard for most people to try and pen. The turret armor is not good, but not bad. I'd give it a solid maybe 6 out of 10. It's similar to that of a BZ-75. The difference is the BZ-75 is 8 degrees of gun depression. This tank has 6. I think that Wargaming really should have given it a autoloader like it has on PC, where you have 500 alpha, but you've got like a 5-6 second interclip. Think of a T-28 Defender, but in tier 10. I think that, or maybe an M4 Yo in tier 10, I think those two vehicles are a good example of what this tank could and probably should have been. But instead, Wargaming went with the route of making it a high alpha single shot. And I don't really understand why, because it doesn't really bring anything new to the table. You can pull out an IS-7 or an AMX M454 and do better in most of the situations you're stuck in. But, well, let's get into another game and see if the 116 can do another decent result. Okay, we are on Ghost Factory, which is an okay map. But it is obviously dependent on where my team goes and where the enemy team goes. Alrighty, let's see. I'm gonna go this way. Hopefully our team stays together. And we will all go down together. What do we have? 183, Ho-Ri, and a 268. So 3 of some of the most dangerous and cringe tank destroyers. 30B, E5, M103752. Okay, so they don't have a single tank that can't use gun depression. Except me. I don't have gun depression. Alright, well, let's head over there. We can see the decent mobility on this tank, especially because I'm not even running improved fuel on it. I just didn't really think it was that necessary. I'm still chilling at 40 kilometers per hour here, and we're moving on up. Now, as we saw, they have a 183, and they got a lot of other nasty tanks, so definitely something to keep in mind. I'm going to move up right over here, and this position is perfect because it guards me from a lot of the enemy, and we're going to load in a shell. Bonk. Nice. 485, and we back up. I put on my reactive just in case this 30B decided to try and shoot me, but obviously that was not the case. We're going to reload. We got 2 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and... Okay. Perfectly aimed, and doesn't pen. Oh well. I mean, I could not have aimed that shell any better. Now, our Chieftain is driving in the open and could be in a sussler spot. We have the 268 running. And, don't think I'm going to get any damage into the 268. Ho-Ri missed my teammate, and we're going to aim it on the Ho-Ri. Nice, 507. Again, the alpha damage does feel nice. Like, I'm going to say that right now. Being able to chunk somebody for 500 does feel so good. And even though the gun depression and like the rest of the tank isn't anything amazing, it's just, I don't know, it's that sense of just alpha. It feels really, really solid. So we're going to aim it on that 752. There you go, look at that, 536. And, well, if you fire standard at me, I'm going to actually get bounces, which is pretty good. But remember how I said the side armor's terrible on this tank? You can see that here. I got shot right through my track wheel without a moment's hesitation. Did not struggle to pen me at all or anything like that. The armor on this vehicle, it's decent, but do not expect to get many bounces when you're exposing your hull. However, we're already up to 2,000. We've been able to bleed out the enemy a decent amount. We're going to reload again, and what am I going to do? I'm going to put on my reactive armor, set the E... Oh, I was way too zoomed in there. But look at that, 613 a max roll. Again, that's a chunky alpha. It really is. And we're going to reload again in a little bit here. Let's see, what is this E5 going to do? Well, right now he's staring at me, but... Cap is a problem. I do agree with our team there. Cap is a serious problem. But at the same time, I don't want to just throw my tank away. Yeah, I can't do anything to a haul down E5. It's just not really a viable thing. Alright, let's aim it on the 752. There you go. 509. Nice little juicer into his tank. We should be okay. Even though their team is way, way ahead on base cap, it's really not something I'm worried about just because of the fact our team is dealing with the enemy so easily. There you go. 428. It's a low roll, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ram you for, 157. That's a pretty awful ram, to be honest, but we are A-okay. I'm going to aim in another shell onto the lower plate of the E5, and for 100% certainty that nothing happens, I will activate reactive armor. Yes, the enemy did go up on base cap quite a bit, but obviously did not end up winning. I did a pretty solid result there, and, I mean, you can see why the 116... Oof, bad voice crack. But you can see why the 116 is a rather capable vehicle. And my initial review on the tank, I thought it was really bad, but after playing it for a decent amount of games and getting a full extent to its capabilities, I actually don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty average in terms of its capabilities, and I wouldn't ever say to go out and buy this tank, because in the current state, it's pretty mid. But I've been doing okay in it, around 3,200 average damage for a 70% win rate, which actually makes me currently the highest ranked player in this vehicle for the win rate and damage being performed. Obviously, I'm not at 100 games yet, but yeah, especially because I've played most of these games in Platoon, which does lower your average damage, so I've actually been enjoying this tank. It took me a while to get the right loadout with provisions and consumables and everything like that, but I've been enjoying it, and I figured why not make a video on it. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!